Hi, I'm Sleepless Skies, and welcome to the next edition of this series where I make a track from scratch using the Sekora Artist Essentials preset pack. Link in the description. It's a great pack, go get it. I am really getting on with this track now. I'm starting to nail down the melodies. In this video, you'll see me doing some more processing on the melody, getting that really sounding tight, adding some more layers, getting richness, getting width. We're starting to build it up into a final track. I'm also going to do some processing with the kick, because that's really important, and I'm just going to start adding in some more transitions and elements to help with energy in the track. So you'll see all that in this video. We're getting really close, so keep watching. I really appreciate all the comments that have come in about this video. If you've got any questions, drop them into the comments, and yeah, let's jump into the door and see what we can do. Okay then, here we are back in the project. I've just had a little listen through just to remind you, for those of you who maybe haven't heard this for a while or are just joining me in this series. This is what we've got so far. It's a nice little intro, laying down some chords and things. And then there's a sort of a big breakdown here. We end up in the full. Right. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do to this now, and we are very close to getting to a final track. Let me stop that crazy. That vocal noise just keeps going. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do this, but we're really close to having like a final track ready to kind of do a final master on and get it out to labels. So I'm hoping to make really good headway with this in this session today. And let's get started. The thing I want to do, I was having a listen back to this, and I still feel like the lead melody just needs a little bit of fine tuning before it's quite ready. One of the things I was listening to here as I was listening to this lead melody, I'm just going to solo it and show you what I mean. So if I listen to it. So if you hear the structure of it, now that I've made this was a kind of an RP sound, but now that I've made it into more like the lead melody, it doesn't have a story to it. It's just got it's the same pattern over and over again. So I was thinking about it, I was like, I just want to add a bit more kind of call and response and a sense of some sections to this melody. And it's really going to just lift this whole track. It's going to give it more focus and make the whole thing feel a little bit more like, a kind of like it's telling a story over time. So I started doing that here. So you can see we've got section A, which is like a call, section B, which is a response, section A, which is basically this again, just ever so slightly different, a little bit of variety, and then a section C, which is longer. So this is now going to carry, when you hear it in situ with the rest of the track, just feels like it's now telling the story a little bit more. So I'm going to do that all the way through here. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just take a quick, I'll just do this for a couple of minutes and I'll be back in a couple of minutes time. I'm not going to make you watch me do this because it'll be extremely painful for you. So see you in a couple of minutes time. Okay, so I have been through and I've edited loads of this lead melody. I've also added in some moments where we release the synth a little bit in the automation. You can see these tiny little automation bits here that I've added. Let's just copy a few of those over there as well. And do this bit here. Okay, so you can see it's just releasing it in that way, kind of. Starts to create this sense that the synth has kind of its own life. And I'm gonna, I haven't done any processing on the synth yet, and there's no compression or anything like that, so I'm gonna be able to control that a lot better. But you can hear, I think the melody here. Now you see I've let that note at the end just drag a little bit. So you see, it's just got a little bit more life to it now. So that's nice. That's something I want to do. The other thing I wanted to do is I just wanted to experiment with whether it feels like it's quite, there's a lot going on the kind of the top end of this sound. So I just wondered if there was we could add a little bit more depth to it by using another pluck sound and layering it. So I'm just going to, I love this Essential 1 pluck. I've been using this in lots of music recently. So we're just going to edit it ever so slightly. I'm going to take out some of the bottom lower frequencies. Take out some of the noise. Maybe see what that's like. Because it's a layer, I don't want as much variation in the sound, so I'm going to delete the automation on it. Let's just see if it's actually doing anything to thicken the sound. Really. Okay, maybe it's all right. Maybe I don't need it. It's worth a shot. It's always worth trying these things. I think what I might end up doing is just, I'll thicken this sound up with a lot more processing. It's got nothing on at the moment. So I will do that with some processing. I'm going to come to that shortly. The other bits that I wanted to look at as well is just whether or not it might be nice to have a piano sound in it. I have a piano in most of my tracks. And I don't want it to get in the way of this nice chord. This is a beautiful sound, this. It's gorgeous, but sometimes a piano can be really nice in as just a kind of a layering sound. So I'm going to use the only piano worth using. Just kidding. My favorite one anyway. I'm going to use Lab Soft Piano. Let's go in here. Wider. Oh yeah. And then what I'm going to do is going to add some like little passing notes and things here. So if I duplicate this and create a length of this here, humanize it so that it's all kind of a bit more off the grid. Oh. See what sort of, maybe, no, I like down there. That's really nice as a layer there, and I can just layer that in across. That's going to be the same everywhere. So that's just thickening things up a little bit. And then so then the next bit I want to look at is this drop, this breakdown, because I think so this is where I want that vocal to be a bit louder. Feels like it needs something here to break it up. So I'm wondering if a different chord progression might be quite nice. That's where it ends. Let's just take this. I'm wondering if I start it here. Oh. Just gonna get rid of all that. It's kind of nice. I don't know if it's quite right though. That's it there, isn't it? Yeah. What can I use a bit of a... I'll repeat that again. Yeah, you see shifting that note there. Yeah, that's it there. Sometimes you have to shift between the major and minor chord until you find out what feels right. Feels like it was wants to go up there at the end. And then I'm gonna just, and then it'll go back to being in here. It's nice. Actually be a bit different. No, that doesn't feel right there. I wonder if I just change that around a bit. See how it's changing, introducing this. Yeah. Yeah. This just acts as a bridge. So now you can carry the two, it sort of joins the two sections of the track together, and it creates some variation. Otherwise, it just feels like one big long idea. We're trying to just create sort of structure here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bass line in. I'm going to just use this is basically the chord progression I've just done, and I can just use that as a bass line. It's the root note of the chord progression. Sometimes quite nice to have this. Actually, I might leave it out, you know. I kind of like it. And then the bass comes back in. I kind of like it actually not in there. So then you can do something, you could do something here where we just take the frequency, EQ the frequency of this down. So in this breakdown, I'm going to introduce some more low frequencies for this chord. Just noticing the bass automation here hasn't been done. So let's do a bit of automation on this bass line here. Bass as well, so this is gonna get a bit of wider. I'm just putting a low pass on that, around about 120, so everything below 120 is getting monoed. That's sounding cool. Get this one down here. This is getting really close to the stage where I'm going to start doing like a proper mix on it. One thing I want to do before we do that is I want to look at transitions. So at the moment, there's no transitions in here at all. It's all just pretty static stuff. and you'll see that's going to make for quite a kind of a static sounding mix. So what I'm going to do, I've got this little group here called transitions. First thing I want to do is I want to add a bit of white noise. Okay, so I'm using this white noise bus. Again, this is all it's all preset in my template. You can download this. This is the template that I'm using, and it's all ready to go. So if I just place this in here, G, I just play it until I get a sound that sounds about right. How long do you want it for? And then what I want to do really is get like I want it to have quite a long decay on it, so, or like a release on it. Sorry, a decay and release. So if I go into operator, just adjust this. And then if I go to the pitch shift, you can see these here. I've got filter frequency and pitch shift are preset in here. So if I all right. So then what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to turn off this. I'm actually going to do a thing here where I'm going to bounce these out. So I'm going to create another. I know there's different ways of doing this. I like to do it using resampling. So I'm going to basically create a little sample here of this. Oh, it's very quiet. Let's make it noisier. Okay. Sorry about the noise. I need to record it in a high volume. Watch your ears. Okay. Now we have a white noise sample. We can take our, turn off that one. Oh. And we can take our delay and reverb, add that to this one. And then I want to just turn that down a little bit because it's quite loud. And then put these on it. let's get a sidechain compressor from one of these others, drag it on. Now I've got a sample now that I can do a lot with, right? I might make it a bit shorter. I want it to, and then I can do a reverse of that. Obviously, you need to take this bit off and put that bit on. So now I've got one of these. That's white noise. I'm going to come back to that in a sec because there's going to be times when I want to use that and times when I don't. You can overuse this. I'm going to put it in like that for now. I might not use it all. Then I want to have some little transitions, and there's a little transition that I use a lot, like a kind of it's like a sort of orchestral cymbal transition thing. If I go into my library here to one of these. That's nice. Some lovely stuff here. Not that, not that, not that, not that. What's it, this one? That's kind of cool though. I might take that, add that in there. That's cool as well. This pack is so good for these kind of orchestral transitions. Sounds of Kashmir Volume 3. It's not that one. That's really nice. Can use that. And then I'm going to do... There we go. I love the little run up to it. So if we have these here, these two are a bit louder than those two. I'm just going to bring them down just so their kind of peaks are roughly in the same ballpark. And then I'm going to stop them from warping. So you could actually just do that. know, this is where like something like this can come in here, but really quietly, maybe. Just a kind of way to like. Yeah, that's cool. So you get the idea. I'm going to add these all in. Again, not going to make you watch that because, well, that's exceptionally painful. So I'm going to add these all into different parts of the track. I'm going to create lots of little transitions with them. And then we're going to get onto some fills, and I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, so I've added loads of these crashes all the way through here just to kind of help the track along a little bit, just easing the transitions between different sections. You can hear so it's just simple little ways to kind of add a bit of movement between sections. And each of these on those crashes, I've put some processing here. A little bit of gentle saturation, a tiny little bit of overdrive, like real tiny percentage amount, just to help it cut through the top of the mix. Bit of delay, 30%, triplet delay, 30%, dry wet, 28% feedback, bit of hybrid reverb on there, just about 34%. On the bigger spaces, grand stage, I think that's some preset, but that's also in the template. All this is set up in the template. I've just got this from the white noise, and then a compressor just to control dynamics. There's as it peaks, just to bring the dynamics under control. Okay, so that's really nice. We've got all that in place. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to build a little fill. Now this isn't going to have loads of snare rolls in this track. It's not that kind of a track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this drum rack and we're going to build a little hi-hat fill, which is kind of an interesting idea. So if we go to vocoder, put the vocoder on, it's going to be like a noise fill. We're just going to go into here and we'll grab a hi-hat. That's actually quite nice, that one there. Oh, that's nice. We'll try some of these. This is really easy to do. So just add a MIDI channel, a MIDI clip here. And we're going to want to, the MIDI clip is going to run over this distance of this duration here. So we just set it up to run over this duration. And then you can hear it's running through the vocoder. That's why it sounds so, it's just. So it's just. Yeah, sorry, it means you got this rollingness. So I've got now that whole section now. So I'm not just repeating the same thing over and over again. I've got this kind of sense of it. then we might just add a... see what happens here when I... that doesn't really work. Oh my goodness, that vocal. Let's just switch it off while I'm doing this because it's very annoying. Okay, then let's take the reverb and we'll also take an auto filter from here. So, in fact, if we group these all together, group them all together now. Yeah, that's where I want that actually. Yeah, okay, so group this, go to these macros. I've got a macro 1 and macro 2. So what I've got now is this thing where I can adjust the release time. So I can basically do this kind of like one of the things you can do is get this and stop it from being see, you've got all this rhythm here. It's just so we'll see this in context here. Let's put this as show a new lane. This is show a new lane. Because I've got a lot of automation running, I always like to show it a new lane. That's where I can see everything that's going on. do actually. So it's really just these kind of little bits at the end, just to drive energy towards the last. This track it's not a big kind of hands in the air peak time monster. This is much more. These fills are quite gentle, you see. Just to help with the transitions. Okay, all right. So that's good. We've got transitions in. We've got more going on here in terms of the melody. Got a new piano in, some more chords. All this is nice. Got this lovely new breakdown. So I think the last bit I want to do today, I think, is the kick. I'm just going to try a different kick in here because I've been using kick 3 a lot recently and I really like it. And so I'm just going to use some presets that I've been playing with on kick 3. So it's some stuff that I've been creating. Let's see, where is it? User presets. Let's try this one. Synthesizer. I'm going to do a separate video on how to use kick 3 just because there's so much to it. But you can see this track's in D major, so I don't want my kick to be in D, it's too low a fundamental, so F would be nice. Sounds good. Yeah, it's sitting around the F mark. It's pretty well controlled because the limiter that's in kick 3 not got as much boominess. There you go. I can pump a little bit of bottom end on it. It's nice. Then just cut off 20, anything below 20. That's cleaned up a bit. That's better. Okay. All right. So that's where we're going to leave it today. The next video, I think we're pretty much ready to actually do a really good final mix. Start to add lots of coloring and dynamics processing to start really getting loudness and width. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and then it's going to pretty much be done. I am also going to do something. I'm going to send this, I think, to my friend who's a vocalist and see if she can come up with a bit of a vocal for the center part of it. I don't know if it needs it 100%, but I'm going to send it to her and see if she gets some inspiration, because it might be nice to have some words, some lyrics in there just to give the whole thing a focal point. So do that too, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.